Thank you. Let's turn to Dr. Nancy Snyderman. She's NBC's chief medical editor.
Hey,
Nancy,
Savannah.
good morning to you. This is a complicated issue because people think, oh, if you're sick, stay home. But for a lot of folks, they aren't getting paid. That makes a huge difference for them. What are they supposed to do?
You take a single working mom who can't afford to miss a paycheck, or a small business owner who says, look, I'm pinched already. There's an economic understanding there. But if you look at just preventive health and the fact that an aid worker who's taking care of a 90-year-old person, or any hospital worker puts more people at risk. We're looking at preventive health, and we're looking at the economic squeeze. And I think those two things really right now are at loggerheads.
Obviously, if you go to work and you're sick, there's a potential you get one of your coworkers sick too.
There's a pretty good potential with this flu because the virus can stay on inanimate objects like a keyboard or a phone for up to 24 hours.
And I know you've made the point, sometimes you have vulnerable coworkers, particularly vulnerable. Explain.
Well, I'm a big believer that if you're in the healthcare business, you should get a mandatory flu shot. At the University of Pennsylvania, everybody has to be immunized. And if you're not, you have 2 weeks to think about it. If not, you can say goodbye to your job. That's responsible medicine. In New York State last year, the nurses union said, you can't force me to do things against my will. Well, I would say that anyone who is supposed to take care of people in the home or in the hospital has to protect the most vulnerable. Now, take it one step further. School teachers, part-time workers, bus drivers are going to come into contact with hundreds of people a day. The line gets a little more blurry, but I think at the end of the day, you have to think, am I well enough to go to work, or should I be under the covers? And if you have a fever and you're coughing, you sometimes have to make the economic hard decision and do the, frankly, morally, ethically right thing.
And sometimes when it's a debatable call, if a parent has a child who's a little bit sick, same rationale. They may send the child to school so they can go to work.
That's exactly right. And some preschools will have sort of a sick bay. I worked for Johnson & Johnson for years, and they had a phenomenal preschool, nursery area where kids who were under the weather could be segregated from the kids who were well. Good companies will do that, but increasingly, all of us have to look at our most vulnerable and how to protect them.
Dr. Nancy Snyderman, it's a good issue to talk about.
Yeah,
Thanks, you.
Savannah.
So how do you feel about coworkers coming to work sick? You can join that conversation on today.com. Coming up next.